Hi, students. My name is Dr. Estella. I'm back with you again to talk to you a little bit about the science of meditation. And I call this presentation From Stress to Strength because we get strength in meditation. You'll find out after I go through some of the benefits and some of the science behind it. So, welcome to Module 3. I'm so excited that you're taken the plunge this far, and hopefully you've enjoyed some of the meditation practices that we've shared with you. So, how does meditation heal the body? Well, there's a lot of ways, and it's not just the body. I mentioned the mind and spirit. So, let's start with why meditation matters. Well, there's a lot of reasons that the reason it matters. In this fast-paced world we live in this world where we're constantly in fight or flight, meditation has a way of calming us and keeping us grounded. So there are two types of stress, and we'll talk about what those are. But one of the things that chronic stress, there's acute and there's chronic stress does for us that is not good is that it increases illness. And as you know, illness is at an all-time high, not with just um, people expect with the aging process that people get ill, but illness is attacking all ages, and it's due to the stress that we're under. Um, Meditation has been proven to help reduce stress and promote healing. And there's a lot of body of evidence and research on that. When I did my dissertation back in, I think it was 2000, I think it's 15, there were scientific papers galore on the benefits of meditation in every area of our body. But there's even more body of evidence now to prove that it's done a lot of good things for people. So, illness and emotion, as you know, has a toll on us. It is not a fun thing. It's not a fun thing for not just us, but our caregivers. And our caregivers are under a lot of stress when they get bombarded with taking care of someone, as well as us going through the actual illness. So, illness equals emotion and physical stress. It can be physical stress on our body, it can be emotional stress. All of that causes illness. Chronic conditions often lead to depression, and that depression and the behavior changes that are associated with that lead to mental illness. And caregivers and patients both feel the impact. And so all of them and all of us need an area where we can change that, and that's through meditation. So there's this connection between stress and disease. There's this inflammatory thing that happens in our body, and inflammation, you've heard about it. It is actually not just a condition, it's a root cause of illness and diseases. And this root cause can be in our heart, in our brain, in our immune system, but it's definitely inflammation that causes it. A lot of times you hear people say, take care of your gut because your gut health is really important. And that's where a lot of the inflammation starts. Stress also increases cortisol and inflammation triggers. So, again, these are root causes. Stress is a root cause. So, if you're having inflammatory triggers or cortisol imbalances, know that stress is probably the cause of it. One of the key concepts is stress drives disease progression. So you at one point right now, you may be having stress and you may not have disease, but if it continues at a pace that it is, and we can see it throughout the world, then it does cause disease progression. So I encourage you to start finding ways to balance your stress and manage it. And one of the ways, it's very simple, is meditation. So, what are types of stress? I mentioned that before. There are two types. There's the good stress, which we call acute stress, and that's that stress when you got to take a test or you have interviews or deadlines. It goes and comes, it's okay. It raises our cortisol level, but not to the point it's going to hurt us. But then there's this chronic stress that we just talked about that's actually bad, it's harmful, it's ongoing, and that could be due to financial problems, relationship problems, and not and our ability not to manage stress. So again, scientific evidence has proven that meditation resets our body. Um, when you reduce the stress response, you lower cortisol, which regulates the immune system, and then it helps our body return to balance. So it's kind of this cycle that I show you on the slide. Meditation lowers this expression of this inflammatory gene called COX2 or RIPK2. And it's not necessarily, we're not scientists, all of us, but it's important to know that there is scientific proof that meditation lowers this gene expression. In addition to that, it decreases the C-reactive proteins in chronic illness, so it can revert illness. And there's been studies, some of the major hospitals particularly do a lot of studies in regards to that. And these studies show improvement in not only pain management, but also in emotional resilience. So basically, it can help our mind and our body. So let's talk about the brain and pain. Meditation can actually train our brain to manage pain. And there's studies that happen and have happened to show that. Interesting enough, music, and we'll talk about some of this in later modules, or you'll see in when you're starting to meditate with the different apps that are out there. There are a lot of music therapies and brain music that helps brain waves and it corrects it. Particularly a lot of times when you have things like ADHD and different things where you some of those conditions like postpartum stress or PTSD, a lot of times music therapy really helps with that. And you can learn more about that later. We'll have some more continuing education on that. I go into a little bit in this presentation, but not as much. Also, the theory and practice booklet, there's a whole section in the book on meditation. Dr. J wrote that section in her dissertation about music and music therapy and meditation. Really good thing to read. Also, meditation has us control, focus, and have less distraction. One of the great practices that does that is mindfulness, because mindfulness is all about focusing on the breath. And so when you focus on the breath, you're able to breathe. And whenever you're stressed, you're training your body to focus on the breath and not let that stress control you. And again, it's used in chronic pain conditions, etc. Also, our emotional and social benefits are important with meditation. It definitely improves that. It causes us to be more empathetic and compassionate. You'll see in some of the universal love meditation practices, you'll see in some of the um, uh, compassion and gratitude meditations, you'll see how it actually makes you feel better and it teaches you to love and have compassion for others. It also enhances communication and patience. Many times we're not patient. Sometimes we are, but it actually helps with that. And it builds this, what I call resilience, emotional resilience, where you're able to have harmony in relationships. And that's so important because we're all relationship people. We're built for connection, and meditation brings about this connection. So, what is your call to action? Your call to action is to practice it and feel it and jog it in your journal. And that way you'll be able to see the benefits. Possibly you're having some neurological problems. Maybe you're having stress in your neck, or maybe, and after you start practicing and you write it down, you'll see, oh, wow, I'm not having that as much. Or maybe you're having sleep problems. Sleep is healing. And if we don't get enough sleep, we end up having problems. So possibly you find yourself sleeping better. So jot those down because it's good to take note of how do I feel now and how do I feel later. And then you'll be able to gauge how the benefit of meditation is really helping you. So your call to action is to do situational meditation. Situational meditation is happens anywhere. And one of the things I tell you is don't wait for illness to begin healing. Meditation can happen anywhere. It can happen in your walks and eating, driving, or just a pause. When you're driving, you're focused, right? Focus on on the drive. Focus on what you see, and let those things, instead of distract you and agitate you, heal you. A walk, a beautiful garden. I used to walk in the morning and see dew on the plants. And I thought, well, I haven't seen this in years because I hadn't paid attention, but it's always been there. So just paying attention. I also say start small, 2 to 5 minutes a day. That's all you need. at the beginning. Then you need 10, 20, 30, whatever, but it builds. But you'll notice a big difference. It's all in consistency over complexity. So make sure you remember that. It's not about being about the presence or the position you're in. It's about taking focused time wherever you are. So, final thoughts, meditation is not a retreat from life, it's a return to yourself. The mind has the power to heal the body, so let it. And peace begins within. So get connected to your inner self, and I guarantee you'll have peace within yourself. So read more on meditation and the science of it. I share some articles that can tell you about brain health, really interesting articles, and read Theory and Practice, and you'll learn more about music and therapy. And thank you for paying attention, and thank you for being present in the moment and being focused. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to let me know by email. Thanks so much. Bye.